good people. Sammy Ash here, Executive Director of the Ash Academy, and your host of our Inspire, Uplift, Engage podcast. Last week was our Mentors and Mimosas Gala, the moment we were all waiting for. It was beautiful for the friends of the foundation to come together to showcase their art, share their stories, and highlight people taking the initiative to make a difference in this world. I'm truly thankful for everyone who contributed through performance, donations, or made an introduction. But the festivities aren't entirely over yet. Our silent auction is live until October 18th, 2020, so make sure you bid on these packages from trips, wine tastings, a collection of books by Black authors who just so happen to be friends of the foundation. You knew we had some cool friends. Now get in there and make those final bids before time is up. We've also got some other things cooking for the remainder of this year, so don't think we're done with 2020 yet. Be on the lookout for some social outreach updates very soon. Now let's get started with the show. Welcome everyone back to another episode of the Ash Academy's Inspire, Uplift, Engage podcast. I am Sammy Ash, the Executive Director of the Ash Academy, and we are joined here by a social media celebrity, Fabian Mitchell. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you for having me.
Just a little quick intro for you. You were born and raised on the dirt roads of Dawson, Georgia.
Yes.
More than a social media presence, as I mentioned, you have written two #1 Amazon bestseller novels. You've been a script writer, a voiceover actor. We will definitely get into that for a highly popular YouTube parody show. And you've even been the executive producer for a VH1 web show. So welcome.
Mm.
Thank you so much for joining us. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you on the interwebs, but it's nice to put a face and a live voice to all of your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So let's start and talk about your just kind of the journey through the arts. Where did you get your start?
Um, it started back in 2013. Well, first I was introduced into parody through Got to Be Real. I just thought it was just
Shout out.
so,
Shout out to
yeah,
them.
yeah. Patty LaHale is
Yes.
a mess, but yeah, I got it through her, and I was just always watching the videos. I was like, well, who is this? Why? What is this called? Because I didn't know what really parody was, and voiceover acting and stuff like that. So after Beyonce's Super Bowl performance, um,
You're taking us all the
I
way back. We were
yeah, I
reliving all of
mean,
this.
so after her Super Bowl performance, my associate then, Lamont Hicks, um, he basically just dumped this idea in my lap because I didn't know anything about ballroom. I didn't know anything about being legendary or iconic or anything like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? But he knew everything, but he knew I was funny. So he was like, okay, this is who's involved. I'm going to put this on you. Just make it funny. So that's where it all started with Beyonce at the Super Bowl. And the Legends panel derived from previous performers of the Super Bowl judging the current performer at the Super Bowl. So Mariah and Whitney, they just came later. So it was only supposed to be Prince, Janet, Michael, and Madonna. But it was like wildfire. It was like a wildfire.
So I will have to tell you that, so you're saying like 2013, I was actually, and this is not like bragging or anything, but I just happened to be in France, and I was so it was the end of 2013, 2014, I'm just waiting in the lobby of this motel. It was actually outside of Paris. I thought I was going to Paris. It's a town outside of Paris. So anyway, I'm having an interesting time in Paris, just to say the least. So I'm looking through YouTube like I'm about to get on out of here, like I didn't actually stay in Paris, and I'm looking at videos, and I had watched Got to Be Real. So I was like, what's this other parody show, The Legends Panel? And I'm sitting in that lobby hollering, just cackling away. Obviously I'm in another country, so I'm just sitting there like, oh, I need to quiet down and pull myself together and get on out of here. But
Right.
once I got back to the States, I'm like, oh, let me check out this show for real. And then that's kind of when you guys were pumping out all the content regularly.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it's even funny hearing your voice right now, because just some of the characters that you recorded, like I just hear like
Yeah.
how did you come up
It's
with the characters? Let's talk about those, like the voices
okay.
for the characters.
The main voice that I voiced was Whitney Houston. And of course I am a huge Whitney Houston stan. Like, who doesn't like Whitney Houston?
Mhm.
But the reason why I decided to take on Whitney was because of Jamal Pittman from Got to Be Real. So I said, how can I make it my own, but still stay true to who she really was, but also make it a parody? So I used him as an inspiration, and also Deborah Wilson from Mad TV,
Yes.
because Deborah is just wild. Like, just going back
And
to
a
when she
legend in her
was
own right too.
right. So when she was doing, remember on Mad TV when she had the wig on and she was sweating
Like I'm
and
sweating now. Yes.
yeah.
Everybody watching, you can see me. So let me wipe some now that we've spoken about it. Like, so yeah, but yeah, she. I
Yeah, it's
remember
like she
that
was
too.
sweating. She was like, damn, this wig is itching. I was like, so I need to. They were both inspiration, Jamal and also Deborah Wilson. So I was like, how can I make it my own? And then I was like, well, of course, my voice. I'm so rooted in the South. Of course, it's going to be that. So that's how I was able to make it my own, and then just adding a praise God here and some other little nuances. But that's really how it started. But and when I first did Whitney, and people didn't latch onto it like I thought they would, it was very depressing. Like, I was going
People
to
didn't like it.
quit. Yes, I was going to quit the Legends panel because they was like, why does Whitney sound like that? And she sounds like a sailor in a brothel. And I was like, oh my God, they do not like my voice. I'm just gonna quit. Do not call me. Just leave me alone.
That's
But
hilarious, because that's one of my favorite characters out of the whole show. Literally,
yeah.
like all every little nuance that you added to it that didn't make sense,
Oh my,
but
it
that
was
was the
like
good part about it.
I love doing the voice, but when I start reading the comments, I was like, I got so discouraged. But then she became one of the most popular characters next to Prince. So I was like, okay, well, I'll keep doing it.
So did you do any other voices throughout the show for any celebrities?
I did Nicki Minaj. I did Cher. I did Diana Ross. I did Little Kim. I
People
did.
are gonna need to watch these episodes. You guys have to know, like, just like different versions of your voice for each of these people.
Right. Um, I did Brandy. Um,
Okay.
it was so easy to do Brandy. I was like, oh, of course. But who else? Little Richard.
Hmm.
Um, Elvis. Katy Perry. Um, I can't think of any
This
more.
no, like everybody,
Tony
you guys have
Braxton.
got to watch the show to hear him do all these voices, because they're hilarious.
I
Um,
was like,
and it's
oh
like
my
just
God.
another version of your voice, because you have a very distinctive voice. So you're hearing all these people that you're naming off. Um, and that's the funny part of it. It's a
Aretha and
parody, guys.
Aretha
Yes, yes, absolutely.
and Aretha. Aretha. That was, I think, other than Whitney, Aretha singing Britney Spears and Nicki Minaj. Just
Gosh.
Wow. I mean, even when Nicki Minaj posted it with Aretha doing the rap to Monster, I was like, yeah, I've made it. I've made it. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So the voiceover stuff isn't your whole journey. You're a writer as well. So where did
Right.
that side of come? Where did the side of
Um,
the arts come for you?
when I first started doing the scripts and things for a Legends panel, I was challenged by someone in the Legends panel to write a book. So it was kind of like a dare type thing. You're so great at writing scripts, and have you ever thought about writing a book? And I was like, no, because I felt that writing a book would take so much of my time and it would pull my focus from the Legends panel.
Hmm.
And I had already devoted so much time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into the Legends panel. I was like, I don't have time for a book. And on top of that, life as well.
Absolutely.
So I was challenged to do it, and I did it, and it took about 3 months. It took about 3 months to write the book, and that was brainstorming and coming up with characters and where do I want the story to go, and how do I want to develop each character in editing and stuff like that. So that's how I got into it, was being challenged by someone to write a book, and the popularity of it led into the second book. So I was like, wow, what am I doing? Am I Zane? Am I Eric Jerome Dickey? So it was all of that.
So, and what are the titles of those books?
My first book is entitled When Hearts Are Involved. And the second book is called When Hearts Are Involved, Atonement.
So,
So it's a continuation.
and those are available on Amazon.
On Amazon.
So, did you self-publish, or what was that publishing process for you?
It was self-published. First, I wanted to get published because I was thinking about the money. I was like, give me a check and you can get these books. But then I was like, if I self-publish, I would be able to do so much more, and I would have total control over my creative content. And that's when I reached out to Harvey Fitz, who was the voice of Tina Turner on the Legends panel. He gave me so much insight into Amazon self-publishing, and I really owe it to him for guiding me that way.
Awesome, awesome. So, what would you say is the most challenging part of your work?
The most challenging part is the thought process. I have a hard time thinking how people are going to perceive it. I can't turn that off for some reason. I wish that I could just write what I want to write and think how I want to think without the threat of people liking it or not liking it.
Hmm.
So if I could just write it and put it out, I would be fine. But it's so tough because I'm sitting here writing and I'm like, they're not gonna like that. So I just delete it. And then I was like, okay, they'll like this, they'll want more of this because my readers for some reason are just horny toads. So they love sex, sex, and more sex. So it's like if I could just turn all of that off about how I think or what they will and won't like, I think it would be easier. But it's so hard for me to just turn that off for some reason.
Okay. And then on the flip side, what would you say would be like the most rewarding part of your work or the writing process?
The most rewarding is the feedback I get from it. People everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere have given me feedback. I got a couple of notifications from a few readers from Japan. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I didn't even know my book was over there. So, thank you. Nintendo, I mean, that's not, that was just so out of order. But but yeah, I was like, to even get feedback from someone who is thousands of miles
Yeah,
away that read my book, I'm like, I'm just sitting here beaming. And the feedback has mostly been positive. The only negative feedback I've gotten was the book isn't long enough. I mean, so it's like,
that's got to
which
be a
I
good feeling, though.
yeah,
We want
they
more.
want
We want more.
we want more. They're like little pigs. We want more. We want more. We want more. So that's really the only negative thing that I've had to that I've encountered, but it's rewarding that so many people across the globe have read the novels. So it's very rewarding.
Awesome. I mean, that's just a testament to you never know how far out your ripples will go. I mean,
Right,
I was in France when I saw those videos. Although I'm from the States, but like I was watching something that far away, so you never know.
right.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. I kind of want to talk about some advice for some other authors or budding authors. I know it was kind of a challenge that kind of pushed you into that. But what is some of the worst advice you've ever received along the way?
Oh, my goodness. Worst advice. Worst advice. Um, I would say the worst advice I ever gotten would have to be someone telling me that I shouldn't be writing. Um, because you know how you have people in your life who are they support you at a convenience. And then at that time when I first wrote the book, you were 100% behind me. You are living, you are it, honey. But then when I wrote the book and then it had all this success, is it's like jealousy came and they were like, well, you don't need to write
Okay.
another one. You shouldn't be talking about this if you do write, or you shouldn't release it that way. And it just wasn't one person. It was a group of them. I'm like, why are you trying to dictate how I release my art into the world? And it was just the negativity from people who I consider close friends. And it was like, I was like, okay, y'all got to go. Y'all got to hit the road, Jack.
So how do you respond to people when they I guess are speaking from that place?
I'm like, one thing that I do, I guess it's just the Virgo in me. I don't know. But I tend to silently cut people off.
Mm,
So if you do something or you say something to me and I don't like it, a shield immediately goes up and I start distancing myself from you until you just won't even know I exist anymore.
okay.
I mean, because it's like I wish that I was a more confident person to address that what people say and do as it pertains to me directly, but I don't have the energy to go back and forth with someone about how they perceive something that I do. I mean that's your problem. It's not mine. So I think it's just the Virgo in me that avoids conflict.
Well, I am of the same thought process of I don't argue with people, especially if it's negative feedback and not coming from a good place. Okay, moving right along.
Okay.
Let's move right along.
Bye. See ya.
Yeah, so completely see it from your point of view. So how does it feel though when people are responding in that way? Just kind of the negative feedback. Like we're all not above criticism, so we're not saying that okay, like I could have done something differently, but not to do something at all is a completely different story.
Right.
How did it feel when you started hearing that type of commentary?
I felt bad because I thought that people's criticism of me gauged how I looked at myself. And I didn't get to that point where I was completely focused on self, where criticism, whether if it was destructive or constructive, I hadn't reached that level where it wouldn't bother me. So it goes back to when I was doing the Legends panel, when I was getting the negative feedback with the Whitney voice. I was dealing with that same insecurity when I started writing. So now that I am 33, and when I get the criticism, it doesn't bother me as much because I know the things that I have to work on. And so someone telling me something that I haven't even thought about, it doesn't bother me because I have already mastered that. You just have an issue with it, so I don't have an issue with it. But it was depressing because I felt that it was them criticizing my worth. And don't do that because I don't do that to people and I don't want anyone to do it to me. So
Yeah.
it was depressing.
So how do you work through that type of situation if it's depressing you, other than just the cutoff situation? Unless that is the process, got to cut them off to work through it.
Is that because I don't want you disrupting my peace? So I have to immediately put up a shield. And I also do reverse number lookups and get their addresses because I'm not above doing a drive-by. But I'm just kidding.
You better say you kidding on you.
but seriously, that's how I deal with it. I cut them off because if you're doing this now, when something in the future arises, you're liable to do it again and again and again. And I'm like, instead of you disrupting my peace, I'm just gonna have to you got to go. And then it was when I was younger, I would keep people like this around because I liked them in my space because I like them as a person. But now, if I like you as a person, but you're still being toxic towards me, you got to go. So that's how I deal with it. You steel wall, nothing is gonna penetrate it.
Now, on the flip side, what would you say is some of the best advice you've gotten?
Best advice. The best advice that I've ever gotten, and this is just in general,
Mhm.
and it's a quote that Dawn, the singer from Dynasty Kane, had posted. It was years ago. And I still use this quote till today. That quote is be your own everything. So when I saw that quote and I started um, absorbing what it truly meant, I was able to see everything a little bit more clearly
Mhm.
because I have to be self-sufficient, especially when it came to um, parody and then also becoming an author and things like that. I can't depend on anyone else to show me the way. I have to figure it out for myself. And if I make the mistakes, I don't want anyone to tell me how to get up or how to correct it. I have to be the one to do it. So that advice wasn't only because of that helped me throughout my professional life,
Mhm.
it also helped me personally.
That kind of gets me to a huge thing for us, mentorship. So it's sounding like maybe you didn't have a mentor in the writing realm. Let's talk about that. Did you have any mentors along the way when you were exploring the arts? Any like notable teachers?
No, I just had to figure it out. Is when it came to the parodies and things like that, it's like he just dumped it in my lap and was like, just make it funny. So I'm like, well, what points of interest am I supposed to look at? What do I do? What do I say here? Um what exactly are we talking about? Can you give me more direction on ballroom scenes so I could actually know? He was like, just make it funny. I'm like, well, I don't. Okay. It wasn't until I want to say like the third or fourth episode of the Legends panel I got it.
Mhm.
That's how slow I was processing that show and what it meant. And I'm like, I really don't know what we're doing. I'm just writing and writing and writing.
You're
So,
like, what are
but
tins and chops? I don't
right, I'm
even.
like, what do the tens mean? What do the chops mean? Can you tell me what is throwing shade? Can you tell me what is dissing? Can you tell me um
That
I mean
sounds
it
so
was
crazy now that it's just a part of the greater lexicon or greater American lexicon, but like throwing
right,
shade, it's like right around like the 2011 is when everybody started picking it up. It's from years ago.
right,
And I've heard celebrities using it over the years that I didn't even remember that I had heard that phrase before. But it's really got to be real, and the Legends panel is when like throwing shade became a part of my own vernacular. Like I that was not part of, or even just things like on social media, like that's right around the time when it started being more regularly used.
right.
So, but
So
that's crazy that it's that recent for you though.
yeah.
That's not a long time ago. That's 7 years ago that you're just starting.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm pretty much an adolescent when it comes to shade throwing. I mean, I haven't graduated elementary school yet. So I mean, but you've seen me on Facebook and whatnot, just
Yes. This is why I'm
trolling.
laughing. That's why I'm laughing because I'm an adolescent. All right. A bully in the sandbox.
You know me, so it's like I still have so much more to learn, but and I'm still figuring out
Mhm.
the difference between a read and shade. It's so it's like so it's all of that combined. I'm still learning.
So you really didn't do anything creative before just a few years ago, starting out working on the Legend. Like you really weren't exploring anything. Like I'm just trying to figure, like you're
How
so
from
but you're
then
so
to
great at
now.
it. So yeah, so it's just like okay, you were thrown into it, and also for our viewers, just in case you pick up, I don't want to just call it a hobby, but like you pick up something creative, no matter what time in your life it is, that means not like time is only relative. Doesn't matter when that is. It could be at any
Right.
moment, and you can have all these accolades from thenceforth. Like it doesn't have to be something that you did back in high school. So, but I just wanted to check and make sure. Like, was there any like background that you had that set you up for this, or it was just kind of like I was called to it and I
it's
showed up.
I'll go back. The first glimpse of voiceover I got was on this show entitled The Jacksons Everybody's Dream. It's a parody
Okay,
show too.
okay,
Um
I believe I've seen it.
Lamont asked me to voice Randy Jackson.
Okay, then I have
That was
definitely seen it.
that was the first time I got a taste of voiceover. So So I was
Sorry,
like,
guys, you're gonna have to know, everybody listening to this, that I have seen these videos, and if I link you out to them, then you'll know why. I'm just replaying in my head and laughing. Anyway,
it
sorry.
was it was that, and I'm like, okay, this was fun, but is it something that I would really want to continue doing? And then when the Legends panel came, it was like, I want you to voice Whitney. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. There's Whitney Houston. Get somebody else to do it. So then it came. It was Whitney, and Whitney turned into like a dozen other characters. But before that, I had no training, no experience, nothing in voiceover or even in comedy, period, except for watching Got to Be Real. And I mean, when I was in high school, I was in a play, but that was for History Day. That was it. I mean, other than that, I was
Were
just,
you the lead at least? Or you the
yeah.
okay,
I
so
was
now
the
you try.
dad. I was the dad in the play. It was back then. It was I was a sophomore in high school. It was History Day. Um, and the name of the play that I had written, it was called
Okay, so now we had to pull it out of you. I had written,
yeah,
so you've been writing for a long time.
yeah. Because the only thing I knew about then was music
Okay.
and history. Like I love history. My ultimate goal is to be a history teacher. So then to have the opportunity to go to History Day, well, I wrote this play. It was called Hip Hop Encounters, Rap is Music Too. So it was me. I was the dad. I had a wife, and we had two kids. I was trying to convince my wife that rap music was music, because she was like, no, it's not, it's just a bunch of noise and fast talking and stuff like that. um we got first place at regionals.
Oh,
We went to state, and we got honorable mention. So we didn't get to go to nationals. What we thought we weren't going to go to nationals.
mhm,
One of the groups dropped out at
mhm.
state. So we did end up going to nationals that was in Washington, D.C. And we did so horrible in Washington. I was
Oh
like, I'm
no.
just ready to go. I'm ready to go home. We did horrible. We didn't have any props. I mean, it was people coming in with
Oh my gosh.
elaborate triboards, and they had costumes, and they went in, and we're just sitting here with a CD and a boombox. I was like, we are in Washington, D.C. competing against 100 other play. It was embarrassing. I could not wait to get back to Georgia.
Oh man.
Oh, we did so bad.
So that's why you
But
didn't want to talk about that earlier. I was like, where did you get to? You're like, no, I just started in 2013. I had
yeah,
never seen a script before.
but we did so bad in Washington that I didn't even think about writing again until 2013. That's how bad it was.
Wow. Okay, so now that we've peeled back some layers, what was your inspiration back then, way a long time, like before nationals happened, to start writing? But like, where did we begin with that? Because not everybody just picks up a pen and they're like, I'm going to create these stories. So where did you get your start there?
Like I said before, I love history.
Okay.
So, and one of the two things that I really knew about was music and history. So I'm like, well, since we have History Day, and it's so many different avenues you can take in history. When they had, you could do like a board, you can do like a speech, you can do a play. It was different things that you can do. So I was like, well, it would be really cool for us to write a play and act it out, because really nobody was doing it. Everybody was doing a board where it had bits and pieces of information on it. So when I wrote the play, I was like, we have to travel back in time to the origins of rap and hip hop so we can really give them the background and where it originated from. So people will know that it is not just noise. Is funk and is soul and is other things as well. And it was very mind-boggling the things that we had found out about hip hop and rap. So to do that, it was, I don't know, it just even made me more of a stand of just music. You know, I have my favorite artists and stuff like that, but it made me want to know more about the origins of each genre of music and the subcategories.
Hmm. That's awesome. Awesome. Yes, music is a major part of how we interact with each other. We've got
Right.
some groups, Brandy, we will shout her out all the time.
Oh,
Uh,
the vocal Bible.
absolutely. Um, so how else has music kind of played a part in the kind of art that you're creating or your approach?
I mean, I wake up on music, I go to bed on music. So anything in between is just music, music, music. Anything that resonates with me lyrically or the beat, I try to find some sort of way to use music to inspire me on whatever I'm working on at that time. So when I'm writing, I'm listening to um, Brandy, or I'm listening to Fantasia or Tony Braxton or um, an artist like that because those are some of my favorite artists.
Hmm.
But when I'm having to drive a long distance or I'm on a road trip,
Hmm.
it's purely pop. So
Oh
there's
wow.
like Lady like Gaga and Ariana and Katy Perry. Like with Katy Perry, I will never diss or talk down about her because she kept me. Well, she saved me from committing suicide.
Oh wow.
So Teenage Dream really literally saved my life. So listening to music in general, the only thing I won't listen to is heavy metal. No. No. Um but when I'm writing, when I am doing schoolwork, when I am cleaning, when I am trolling on Facebook, music is playing in my ears. So
Mhm.
it really helps keep me leveled. I'm always discovering new artists that I may have overlooked when I was younger.
Mhm.
Um, I love 80s R&B and pop. Of course, I was raised through the 90s, so 90s music will always be number one.
Mhm.
So I just always try to implement music into whatever I'm doing. It music is really my heartbeat, basically.
Awesome. Awesome. Was there any like particular Katy Perry song that you want to shout out that was particularly helpful, or just like the whole
Teenage
album
Dream,
specifically?
the
Okay.
the song Teenage Dream, the album, yes, but the song Teenage Dream really. I remember that day, and I was just like, I'm just psychologically, emotionally, and physically tired. And I was just done. I had been checked out,
Mhm.
and I was just ready to go. I felt like it wasn't anything else I could do. So when I heard Teenage Dream that morning, and then when I went and heard the entire album, it just it gave me hope that everything was going to be okay. And ever since then, I have been a Katy cat, basically. So I mean, so just imagine a star and a
Brandy's
Katy
fans
cat.
are called stars.
So it's like I'm a hybrid. So it's like it's that Missy Elliott, Brandy, Katy Perry, and Missy Elliott. So they have kept me here.
It's beautiful. Well, just just the timeline of that, all the greatness that you had produced right after uh, kind of that period. That's just beautiful, and hopefully people listening and watching know that there is something more beyond if you can work through whatever is keeping you down. Um,
Right.
so yes, you want to say anything more on that?
I mean,
Just kind of
it.
speaking to hope for people.
Yeah, because life, especially now, life is hard.
Hmm.
Life is complex. We don't really understand it, and we can't really expect people to really understand our journeys.
Hmm.
We can talk to them all day, every day about until we're blue in the face about what we're feeling or what we're going through. But the most important thing is if nobody understands your walk, your journey, your soul, your heart, your mind, if you understand what you're doing and you are content with it, that is what matters the most. Because I have lived a life of people pleasing and giving unto others to the point where I don't have anything left. So anytime that you can keep what you have to yourself, do that. It's okay to be selfish because when it comes to people wanting to commit suicide and people who are dealing with severe depression and things like that, it's because they have given so much of themselves unto other people and nobody is giving it back. Nobody is um, pouring unto them what they've given out. So they don't have anything else to live for. And that's how I was all those years ago. And I think that's the main reason why I connect with Brandy's Borderline so much. It's like when I first heard that song, I was literally in my room bawling. I was like, "Oh my god, why is she reading me like this?" But but it's like just keep the hope alive for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. Don't feel like you have to please anybody else. You have to get their acceptance because of your journey. No, do it for yourself. Nobody else has to understand that but you.
Absolutely. And that works for education, that works for mental health, that works
Oh,
for a lot of different
definitely,
things. That
definitely mental
do it for
health
yourself.
for your own sake.
Beautiful. All right, I think this is a perfect time to segue into our final Q&A. So we will do that right about now. Um, who is your biggest inspiration?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know why I'm hesitating. Um,
I always tell people I'm just gonna do like a master cut of everyone's reaction to that question. Like, oop. Just like,
Like,
who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get the biggest inspiration?
my mother.
I was like, okay. I was about to say.
Yeah, Sheila Mitchell is that lady. I think earlier this year, back in February, it gave me a newfound appreciation and love for my mom. Back in February, she was diagnosed with necrotizing fasciitis, which is a flesh-eating bacteria, and she's also a diabetic. And majority of the people who get that flesh-eating bacteria, they don't live
No.
because it eats at your flesh and then it goes into the muscles and stuff like that. So she had to have like this life-saving surgery and she got cut from like hip to hip. And seeing my mother in a medically induced coma because she had to be airlifted to a hospital that's like almost 4 hours away, it gave me is I can't even really explain it. It was like this new energy and love that I had for her because even though I'm 33, I always said that if I were to lose my mother, I would be an orphan. So she inspires me the most. And even just me being little and a toddler all the way up until now, I look to her for everything. I mean, I can even go back to tell you when I was little and she would read my favorite book to me every night. And my favorite book is my favorite children's book is The Little Engine That Could. She read that book to me every night without fail. So it's like it's just and it's things like that that I remember throughout the years that have kept me inspired to continue to go on. And I'm like, if I were to go through with the suicide, I don't want to put that kind of hurt on my mom because she has really truly been the strongest woman I know to have to deal with so much. And but she inspires me the most. Like I will always be indebted to my mom because she has been my mom and my dad. So yeah, and she's just like me. So if you see me trolling and being a clown, you know where it came from.
We have seen a many a story, so we believe you. We believe you. That was great. That was great. The next question is, who do you hope to uplift with your work?
I hope to reach out to the person who is invisible. I hope to reach out to the person who don't have the voice yet. I hope to reach out to the person who don't have all the answers or the person who is really just trying to figure out who they are. If I can reach out and touch the heart of any of those people, I have done my job. It can only be one person. If that one person can take something that I have said or done and continue, I have I have accomplished something that someone else may have not been able to. So just imagine being told um, the Legends panel helped me through my darkest times. Or when I read your book, it helped me make a decision about my life. I mean, I've been told this. It helped me make a decision about what I'm going through, and I just thank you for doing that. It's like me. Who are I? How what? But yeah, but if I could just reach out to that one person, I have succeeded.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can extend your count on that with the impact. I feel like we got some more people yet to hear about you, just learn about all the art and just the positivity coming from you. So, last question, or maybe not the last question, but the final Q&A question is: how do you stay engaged with your motivation?
I stay engaged. Music. I also like to affirm myself. And I'm big on quotes and things like that. So anytime that I find a quote, when I wake up in the morning, that I find a quote that will really carry me throughout my day.
Mhm.
And once I have that in my spirit, I allow it to help me drive the vehicle to do whatever I have to do to accomplish that. And also music, because I think music keeps me going. So anytime that I need to be motivated to do something, I know exactly what to turn on, and it helps me make it through whatever I have to do. And then when I do it, because it could be something just as simple, but I'm turning it into something that it doesn't need to be turned into. So I'm like, if I can just get through this, and then I actually find out that it was I needed to do it. It was worth doing it. So that's how I keep myself motivated is music and quotes and just slowing down and breathing. I think we in life we forget to breathe, and that's the most simplest thing that we can do. We will not breathe, and then we have all these health concerns and heart palpitations and things like that. So just slow down, breathe, listen to some music, and just connect with yourself, and just stay connected with yourself.
Awesome. That is just so great. And something you said about you finding out that you needed to do something um, definitely speaks to me right now. There's so many hats that we'll put on, or so many projects that we take on, and we feel very busy. But then when you like finish the project, you're like, oh wait, like everything I learned during that moment was necessary, and I can take on with me. So
Yeah,
that's great. That's
exactly.
great. So what's next for you? What do you got cooking
Mm.
up? What are we looking forward to?
Well, for the past 2 years, has it been 2 years or 3 years? 2 years, 2018. Yeah.
Hmm.
I had been working on a movie script. I don't know if you saw me post about it on Facebook or Instagram, but
I
I
think so.
said 2 years ago I wanted to create an all black LGBTQIA horror film. So I've been working on that since 2000 October 2018.
Okay.
I am finished with
Awesome.
it. So once I am able to, go through the editing and stuff like that, um, I really want to get the funding to turn into a reality. But and just outside of the horror film, I am writing. I'm almost done
Hmm.
with the third installment to the When Hearts Are Involved series.
There we go.
Um,
Another number
and
one on the way.
oh, I am the number one king. Okay, but and it's called When Hearts Are Involved, Equipoise.
Okay.
And it will be out. I'm shooting for November, but I
This year?
may, yeah, this year.
Oh, you're not playing around.
Um, I may just wait till Christmas. It'd be a nice gift because I
Okay.
want
Look out for
to.
the Black Friday sales.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do. Black Friday. Um, so I'm doing that. I'm also writing a um a comedy. It's a book. It's a comedy called "Wife Needed Now Hiring." So that'll be coming out on Valentine's Day because it's kind of like a romantic comedy, and it is
You were
so
busy
silly.
this year. If you
Yeah,
got all this
yeah.
content, I wasn't expecting that. You got
This
things in the queue.
pandemic,
In the queue.
this pandemic has really forced me to write and write and write. Um, so yeah, so it's the third installment to When Hearts Are Involved, the horror film, um, the next book, and then I really would like to work on another book that really explores when I was going through my darkest times, and that led up to me wanting to commit suicide. So I really would like to work on that next, but I want to get all these projects out of the way
Hmm.
so I can really focus and really tap back into that time, because I'm in a better place where I know that I can talk about it without it affecting me. I know there are going to be some tears and things like that, but now I can really focus on it without it taking me down the
Hmm.
a spiral
Yeah.
that will make me want to think about doing it again. So I really would like to do that and really focus on that. And uh, the parody life has been calling me. Um,
Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone.
they have left so many voicemails. Uh, I wish that I don't know. I know that my voice is needed, but I'm like, well, what do I talk about? What do I do? What will be popular? What will catch the attention? So I've really been thinking about that too.
Okay.
So I've been
I
playing with
have
like a lot
an
of
idea that we could talk about offline, but I got an idea.
all right, let's go.
There we
But yeah,
go.
but
And
I've really been thinking about it though to get back into parody, because it's like I can't tell you how many DMs I have now. When are you coming back? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? We need another Aretha remix. We need Whitney to come back. I'm like, I don't know. I'm tired. I am retired. So I don't know. It's calling, and I need to fulfill that itch for everyone. I need to scratch that itch.
well, we will be happy when you decide to come on back and do a little recording here and there for something. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but something. Your voice is needed. Was there anything else you wanted to share? Any other gems that you wanted to share with the people before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so.
You've been preaching this whole this whole interview, so
Oh, I am Minister
Mr. Mitchell.
Deacon Mitchell, but no, it's just that now we're living in a time where we have a new normal. So remember who you are, and you will get through this time, because so many people have gotten lost in the pandemic, and they don't know what's next. I mean, unemployment and people have lost family members. I lost an uncle to COVID.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you. Is we're getting lost, and we're also getting lost in social media, and we're becoming desensitized by the news, where we just don't care about anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are able to find ourselves again and relocate what we stand for, it will be so much better, and we will come out on the other side of what's going on. It's once we can get um Agent Orange out, um we'll be, I think we'll be okay. It's a dangerous time, and it's a dangerous time in America, in the world, to have to deal with him and his administration and the pandemic. It's a lot. It's a lot, and I think we will be okay once we relocate who we are. We will be okay.
Absolutely. And on that note, thank you guys once again for joining us for an episode of the Ash Academy's Inspire, Uplift, Engage podcast. This was Fabian Mitchell. Thank you so much. I'm Sammy Ash, Executive Director of the Ash Academy. Everyone, have a good one. Thank
All
you.
right.